Upon a time once there happened to be a person, namely Tom, who was going on a junket in the jungle.
Well, I'm going on a safari. Who else is wanting to go with me to Africa? Come on, let's hear it. Don't keep me in suspenders.
The jaunt was soon underway. Tom began to lose the way into the jungle, but, of course, they had a long way to go to reach the hearth of the jungle, which was their objection. As they were wafting down a stream one day, they met a Morphosis. Much did their supper rise, for they were truly amazed at the creature. Tom looked him eye to eye, but in a momentum it offed down the river to the watery waterfowl, rinsing its way away rigorously and assuming speed. As they could not very well folly, they pondered on their wave with speed in order to make up for lost tide, but before they could get up very much speech, they noticed a boisterous blunderblub blunting its bony bristles bold between the boards in the bottom of the bow and breathing belligerently before the befuddled boatmen's boggled faces, with eyes blinking bewilderingly. Tom got out of the leaky boat, then boarded it so that no more water could lurk. They all thought that this was surely something to ride home about, but they kept on going so as not to upset the apricot, singing, "Life is but a stream." They findingly reached the hearth of the Jimble and went in with some others who went in for that sort of thing, and so they went to sleep, being very tired of being awake. When they woke up, it was a good time for day. They were all but sleepless, but well restless, thanks to the mammoth moths without which there wouldn't be any. A harsh day was ahead, in which they would lose themselves in the brambles, and thereby bring about bigly game. They wept down a narrow path which had the important purpose job of keeping going through the jamble. Before too long they became weary of being tired and set up camp, hoping to reach big game country tomorrow, to their sorrow. At the tip of his bedpost, Utombi, Tom an African, kept worgs for poisonous snacks, such as the Dudley cobbler and the shiftless python. But little did he know then that the very next day in the early owls of the morbid, a true story would actually happen. Utamba Tom woke up slowly with a couple cubs of teeth. Then they were off. Thurble Rockerstonies and Thurg Deep Valors they wept on weirdly, slurping their way through the jungle, with the hot humorous air all about them, and trying to avoid the voids and the slithely snarks. Thorg swampy marshes and betwixt low-hanging grundies they marshed, until they come up upon a wide Alephaphat who was sporting his new Zambezi.
Hey, how come hemorrhoids aren't called asteroids?
Meanwhile, meaning harm, an Elephopotamus walked them over. But with lead he shot him deadly full, did Utimble. They opened champagne to celebrate, but the Elephopotamus revived and drank it all up with gay abdomen. Utambud climbed a tree to look aground and saw some game ahead or two. They ran ahead with wild exploration, head-on into a headhunter who was trying to get ahead in the world. All too soon they came to a clearer in the Jambal and set up campus. But old Utimber refused to light up the fire on the grounds that it might incinerate him. So Utimbarf lit up the fire with brightness, and they awaited the morning, which finally dawned on them. Jungle Jim Jones, who shall remain nameless, was slowly but slowly asking his way through the underpants, underwear that he was being washed by Weird Harold. Something big was following them, however, since they could detect its noiseless meanderings with their hearful ears. Closer it came until Utumbag, still Tom, thought that he may have him as death. With trusty footsteps did they brush through the rambles and ramble through the brush all around, and did crawl through the vines all around and rush over streams with nary a gasp, but to fight for their freedom. They sat down, but for minimum, before they, as deadly skulks, again had to slink their lurky forms along the jungle floor, sleuthfully slying their way. Onwardly onward they went onward without words, and happened to fall in the river, where they found themselves covered with deadly jellyfish. Although surely in a jam now, they all happened to be lives preserving themselves, and so they got out of it all there. They had seen a man eating shark in a restaurant once, but that was nothing compared to this. They thought for sure that this was a grave plot. The living end was plainly in sight now, and Jumping Jim, who shall remain home next time, spotted a leopard. The barfing Baroodle shot some rhinostrils and hippopotamuses and Utumbark. Old Utumbark was almost gone before he was operated on by a man of his kidney who said that he mighty liver save if he were to die, since he had several severe confusions of the right inner lower lung chamber, not forgetting the hemoglobins in his kidney. Well, he sure was a goody burple and warbled for days and days, not knowing if ever he would see his hearse again. This slow-faring safari never ended. They kept on shouting crackerdings, alligators, wild boats, stammering elephants, cheaters, lepers, and old Utumbark and all. Old Bungle Bob Gibble, Wurgburgle and all. Inspired by John Lennon's A Spaniard in the Works.